Welcome back, and this will be PEB, metal and ridge rafter detailing in Tekla Structures. If you take a look on the screen here, you can see we had done this. We had created that component and spliced that component, and we created the base plate right there. And now we have the knee joint already done, and we have a splice here already in place. So we want a similar thing on the other end. So another tricky part that you'll find yourself under, a tricky section you'll find yourself under, is when you try to now mirror this. So if you mirror this, you'll get right opposite of what you expected. So what we'll do is we'll copy rotate this. So to copy rotate this, we have to define the center, our rotation point, our rotation angle. So I'll come to edit here. So under edit, I'll come to any position. So this will be the center of our rotation point. So I'll snap on that spot, right click and come to interrupt, and I'll pick that point, right click and come to special copy, and I'll copy it up by approximately 300 or 400 just to define my rotation point. So that's okay. I'll click OK, and we have the 2 points in place. Now our next move, just to select everything here except the points that we had created. So we'll have to press Ctrl and deselect our PEB steel line there. So what we want is have this in the opposite direction. So for the mirror, I'll leave you that for mirror to do that mirror, because mirror will not work. Or maybe I can just do that for you so that you see what you'll expect. I'll right click and come to special copy, and I want just to show you how mirror tool will not work for you. And I'll define that as my mirror line and place it there. So you can see the angle is 180. If I click copy and give it some time to copy that on this end, and what it will not please you. So this is what we'll see as a mirror. So this is exactly, everything has been distorted and rearranged. And if you take a look on the bottom end here, it's not something pleasing to see. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo that. So the moment I undo, I'm going to use a different type of copy, which is copy rotate. So I'll select everything, then press Ctrl and get rid of that PEB steel line, then come to right click and come to special copy, then I'll pick rotate, copy rotate. So the moment I've done so, I have options here under rotation. So instead of Z, I can place my XYZ plane here to define my Z rotation point. But the easiest one, just to use line. So I pick the line. So that's why I place the 2 points, so that I can define, I put a straight line to define my rotation point or angle. So then I key the angle here. So I want this to rotate at 180 degrees and and copy this member on this same position here. So I'll leave it at 180. Then I'll define my rotation point here from this point to this point. So if I click that, you can see the coordinates resets. And once I've done so, I'll be able to zoom out and come here and click copy. So if I click copy and give some time, you'll be able to see it will be copied here intact with all the details in place without any distortion like we had seen on the case of just a simple mirroring tool. So that would make your work unpleasantly annoying, and it will make your mind, so it will distort all the process of detailing here. So we have this in place. So if I turn it like this, the part remaining is just the ridge here. So I'll create the ridge, then create the splice. So I have under PEB tools here, we have so many types of ridges here. So the best one that is easy to use, that I'll just pick it and show you here, is PEB ridge rafter by 2 rafters. So the 2 rafters is 1 and 2. So I'll go ahead and pick that option. So once I've picked on it, you'll see my cursor changing to plus sign, but prior to that, you'll see it's loading all the details, and after it's loaded all the details, the cursor will change to plus sign, and it will show you the instruction, the first instruction at the right of the corner here. So let's just give it some time to finish in decoding that information that we just clicked or we've just inquired on the pair bridge rafter by two rafters macro. So let's just give some time to process that information. Then we'll click the two rafters to place the ridge in between. So it has picked everything, and I can just drag it aside like that. So you can see we have this in place. So let me just bring this close so that when the moment I initiate the process, you'll be able to see everything live and easy to make a judgment on how this was done. Now, I have my ridge. This is the ridge, and this is the connection gap of 10 millimeter. You can also adjust that or to what you prefer, and also you can choose or make some details here if it's necessary, but I'll work with this. So once this dialog box appears, we have two buttons here, pick and cancel, and we have two tabs here, parameters and assembly. So I'll pick on the first picture and pick the pick button. So once I pick on the pick button, I'll be able to see pick the left rafter. So this will be my left rafter. I'll pick on it like that by left clicking on it, then pick the right rafter. I'll pick on that as my left rafter by left clicking on it, then give it some time to load the information we've just brought forth. So it's loading everything in place. So let's just give some time to process that information, then we'll have our ridge in place. So once it has been created, we'll go ahead and start splicing, create a splice connection on that side and create a splice connection on that side. So it's taking a bit of time, but just be patient. The ridge connection or the ridge part will be created automatically. Then we follow up with connection. There we are, our ridge is in place and we have the ridge already fixed. So we have some parameters here. We can go ahead and click on parameters. If we need to add some parameters, maybe we want to, we change the thickness of the flange, we have the thickness and the width of the flange, but it has meshed or linked up perfectly well with the left and right rafters. So if I come to rotate this, you'll be able to see everything has matched. Because if you try to change this, that will force you to change everything of both rafters on the right and the left. So we'll just leave it as it is. I'll come to navigate and try rotate this. So you can see how nicely it has been linked up without any hectic, so any problem at all. So what I'm going to do is just to create a splice connection here. So I'll pick on that and pick this as my main and pick that as my secondary, and that we have. So this the choice of your main component also affect the connection. So if you see something like that, always come here, double click on it, and maybe if you can refresh the PEB connection here. Let me just close this first of all. If I scroll down and scroll up and come to PEB editor, PEB member updater, if I click on that and try to refresh that, it is not able to refresh everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo that and change my main component. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come to stiffener here, a splice connection, and just scroll down and come to splice connection here. So this will be my main member and this will be my secondary member, and I'll left click and give some time to load that information, and the splice will be created. So let's just give some time to process that information right away, and we'll have our splice in place. There we are, and everything in place, and we can have this as it is. So The same thing, we can always go ahead and double click on it, and maybe we want to change some details on how the stiffeners are and change the profile or the shape of the stiffeners here. I always don't like that simple shape. I like this one here. So I'll pick on that and pick on that. Once again, let me just drag this aside. Let me just drag that aside and I'll pick on this. Same thing here, I'll pick on that and put some chamfers there. I need 50 right there, and I need 50 right there, and also I need 50 right there, and I need 50 right here. And same here, I'll key in 50 and key in 50 there, and go ahead and click modify. So once I click modify, this will simply reflect here. So once it has reflected, and that's exactly what I expected to happen. And the reason why it has picked that, it has picked my previous setting, which was this splice here. I can always pick on it and load it, and I can go ahead and save that setting as it is and click save as. So once I click save as, I've now added this to my previous preset. So you go ahead and click load and click modify and click apply and give it an OK. But it hasn't picked at all. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click undo. So if I click undo, I'll bring back my previous chamfers that I had done. Then I'll come to double click here. I'll double click right there. Once I've double clicked on it, I'll come to chamfer that right there. I'll click, or I'll copy this and place it here and click save as. So that will save these settings. Just make sure everything has been saved. I'll click load. So the moment I load, I've changed the setting by adding these chamfers. So I click modify. So if I click modify, I've now added some details, and I've added some details on my preset splice connection. I'll go ahead and click apply and give an OK here. So if you still see my button still green here, means it's still processing the same information, but now it's okay. I can just go ahead and click OK. Then we're out of that. So I'll come to the opposite direction here and pick this as my main component and select that as my secondary component and give some time. So we see that has been picked as a default, and we have that in place. So let me just click on that spot and rotate, and always left click on the empty screen, then right click and redraw. So once you've done so, we can always come here and maybe view this from a different angle. So to create views, just select left click on the grid line, then right click and come to create views along the grid line. So I'll click create. So once I've clicked create, I'll come here and click create and give it an OK. So I've created views here, but I had created previously, so you can see that we have double. So that's not an issue. I want just to show you how we can create grid lines. So I want to view this on an elevation side along the grid line A. So I'll come to grid line A here and just pick on grid line A and bring it on this side and click OK, and I'll go ahead and close this. So if I bring this closer and maybe left click on empty screen, then right click and redraw that, I should have this removed. These symbols of wells, I don't need them. I don't want to see them. So I'll always come to double click on empty screen, then come to display. So once I'm within display, I'll come to welds. I'll just disable the welds here and click modify and click apply and give it an OK. Then come here and click apply and give it an OK. So we've gotten rid of the welds. So if I bring this close, you'll be able to see we have the knee joint clean as it is, and we have that clean as it is. So the steel line, see, it's running all the way straight, all the way to the apex there, and this one stretches all the way to the bottom end here. You can see that. So this is how neat it should be. So we have a splice connection there, and we have an e-joint connection there, and we have a splice connection there, two rafters and the ridge there. So that's all about that. So let me just minimize that and have that as it is. So we'll move to a different topic, and let's meet then. Bye bye. I hope you've gotten some concept here and you will be able to do that by yourself. Let's see you then. Bye bye.